All right, mathletes. So we're talking about triangle congruence by ASA and AAS today. All right. So in the last lesson, we learned about SSS, side congruence, triangle congruence, and SAS, side angle side triangle congruence. So today we're going to talk about angle side angle congruence and angle angle side. All right. So here's postulate 4.3 or 4-3, angle side angle postulate. And it says if two angles and the included side, okay, so two angles and the included side of one triangle are congruent to two angles and the included side of another triangle, then the two triangles must be congruent. Okay, so instead of proving, like we did originally, that all angles and all sides are congruent, we can just prove that two angles and the included side are congruent on two triangles, and then that's enough to say that the two triangles themselves are congruent, right? So we can say that if these angles, right, and the included side are congruent, that means that the whole figure is congruent, right? All the rest of the angles and all the rest of the sides are also congruent. Their corresponding parts are congruent, right? All right, so here it's asking us to name two triangles that are congruent by angle side angle. Okay, so for number one here, so I have angle J, angle K, angle I, angle L, and then their included side is congruent, right? You can see that. And so they're congruent by angle side angle, right? Angle side angle with angle side angle, right? So I can say that triangle, we'll say JIH, is congruent to triangle, and then we have to get the corresponding parts in the right order, right? So J goes with K, so K, L goes with I, because those are congruent, and then of course M will go next. Okay. All right, so these two triangles are congruent. Let's see if we have any congruence here. So here I have NOP, and P is congruent to J, and N is congruent to I. However, there's no side that's congruent, right? We don't see any tick marks on any of the sides, and so we can't say that this triangle is congruent. Definitely not by ASA, right? We need a side for that to happen. All right. Okay, for number two. So here I have angle T, and then we have a right angle, right? And we know that all right angles are congruent. So I know that, let's start with the right angle. Angle S is congruent to angle V and angle X, right? And then we have angle T that's congruent to only angle Z, right? We have this other angle U here that's not congruent. And then we have sides that are congruent with ST, UV, and XZ, right? So this triangle doesn't have quite enough, right? Because angle U isn't congruent with angle T nor angle Z, right? So, but this triangle and this triangle are congruent, okay? So we can say that triangle RST is congruent with triangle, and then I need to correspond here. So R is the angle that we don't have information on, so that goes with angle Y, and then S goes with X, and then Z goes with T. Okay, so we can say these are congruent, but not this triangle. Okay. So in order for triangles to be congruent by angle side angle, we have to have two angles, and the included side, right? Two angles and the included side congruent in two different triangles.